This break is brought to you by Netflix. For a free 30-day trial, head over to netflix.com/GamebreakerTV. Now, the Neverwinter Open Beta has been running for several weeks, and we've had quite a lot of coverage here on Gamebreaker, covering news, editorials, all sorts of bits and bobs of the game. And our very own Troy Blackburn, who's been our Neverwinter expert over that period, has had a really good impression of the game so far. But this time we're getting angry. Troy, you've got some things to talk about that you're not super crazy about in Neverwinter, right?
Yeah, this time it's not all butterflies and happiness. No game is perfect at launch, obviously, and there's always something that can be improved. So over the last few weeks, I've been slowly putting together a list of things that either annoy me or just flat out don't work well in Neverwinter. And so today we're going to talk about those things.
Excellent. So, well, I mean, Neverwinter is still pretty new, right? And it's still in closed beta, is it? Are we just talking bugs here, or is it actual major things?
Well, I mean, there's never been an MMO to launch without server crashes and bugs and things like that. So we're not talking about those kinds of things here. This list just kind of covers some annoying game mechanics and issues that are specific to Neverwinter itself. Now, be warned ahead of time that these are all my opinions,
Yes.
and obviously everyone will not feel the same way.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point to make. And also, it's worth noting that it's taken you like a few weeks to compile this list, so it's not
Yes.
just one game session of irritation either. All right, let's get cracking. And let's start with the mildly annoying stuff, the stuff that you've labelled the bad in your article.
Well, probably the biggest annoyance at the moment is not being able to log out to a character select screen when you want to swap characters.
Oh.
Every time you log out, you have to go through the login screen. Now, of course, this isn't that big of a deal, and this is being a bit nitpicky, but it's something that would just be a lot more convenient if there was an option in the menu where you could just click go to character select screen.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I suppose, yeah, it's fairly minor in the grand scheme of things. That definitely just does seem like an annoyance. And I can imagine logging backwards and forwards between characters, and yeah, that would just wind you up. Okay, but what else has been getting your goat?
Well, the next annoying thing on my list are companions in five-man content.
Right.
Companions are your little hirelings that follow you around, and in five-man content, they pretty much just run around all over the place like psychos, and they constantly stand in bad stuff. And generally, they're just more screen clutter than anything, and it's just not worth having them there. The DPS and the healing that they put out is just does not compensate for the stupidity that
Oh,
occurs when they're in an instance.
that sound amazing. All right, all right. I know we've got a lot to get through. So what else have we got here?
Well, next up is the cash shop, which is always a big source of contention in free-to-play games. But I don't think that there's any doubt that the cash shop in Neverwinter is pretty overpriced at the moment.
Right.
And things like $40 mounts just seems absurd to me. But I guess the big problem is if people are buying, then the prices are not going to come down anytime soon.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, that does seem pretty high for a mount. I mean, I guess by saying that, WoW mounts aren't exactly cheap either, and that's a sub game rather than a free to play. Well, okay. Anything else?
Well, the final thing on the bad list is the daily system that just last week I spoke so highly of in my article. It's become a bit of annoyance since then. At the time, I praised it for its simplicity of letting you pick up a quest, run the content you would probably run anyway, and get rewards for that. As I've gotten higher level, though, you now have to run those dungeons or skirmishes two or three times to complete one daily quest. And with the server stability and the bugs in some areas, it's just simply become more trouble than it's worth. And it's made Neverwinter dailies more like those super annoying dailies from other MMOs that shall remain nameless, that we all just hate so very much.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that does sound like it's pretty. I mean, running a dungeon 2 to 3 times just to complete one daily, that sounds pretty insane. All right, so let's move on to the stuff that's really winding you up, the stuff that you've labeled the ugly in your article.
Yeah, I believe I wrote in my article that these are the things that made me throw Twinkies, spit up Mountain Dew, and go into absolute nerd rage mode. The biggest problem I've got right now is that my cleric companion is a complete moron. I mean, she is absolutely the dumbest AI I think I've ever seen in any game ever, and
Oh
it's
wow.
it's definitely worse than any bad League of Legends random I've ever been stuck with.
Oh my goodness.
She's constantly running face first into bosses with big AoE and cleave abilities, and she's not doing what. And if she's not doing that, she's making sure she aggroes entire rooms of mobs at all times. She has to get them all and get them all on
Oh
top of
my
me.
god.
If she didn't save me so many health pots in my leveling, I would have just dismissed her a long time ago and never looked back.
She does. You feel like you've grown attached to her and you can't quite let go. She.
No, she saves me money
Oh,
because I
fair
don't have
enough.
to check
Though.
health pots if she's there.
Oh well,
When
okay.
she's alive.
When she's alive, when she's not running into Cleves, she does.
Yes.
She definitely sounds like a bit of a moron. Or are the other companions as bad, or is it really just that one?
I think honestly, overall, the companions aren't incredibly useful right now.
Mm.
I have a friend who plays a cleric, and so he has a guardian fighter companion, and he
Okay.
says it's pretty iffy as to whether or not his companion is actually going to charge in and tank anything or not. So it really seems like something where companion AI could really
Mm.
just use some
It
attention.
sounds, it sounds like your friend playing the cleric could use your cleric as a tank, and you could use the guardian, who's just going to sort of chill there and let you do stuff.
Yes, I'm trying to wait on him so he can catch up to me in levels so we can start running together because it's annoying.
Oh god, absolutely. All right, what else is on the naughty list?
Well, one of the biggest problems I've seen other players having in groups right now is classes that can't use gear need rolling on it, leaving
Oh.
the one class in the group who could actually use the gear without anything. A fix for this is really simple. Other games have done this, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not let classes who can't use gear need roll on it.
Yeah.
Simple and effective.
Yeah, pretty straightforward. I mean, like, totally. If you give players a way to be jerks, then then they'll use it. They've absolutely.
Yes.
Oh, that's so annoying. They've absolutely got to fix that. All right, what's up next on the ugly list?
Okay, finally, the last of the ugly for me is something that's affecting a lot of people, and it's kind of making boss fights dull and repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the fact that right now it seems that the answer for making fights harder is simply more ads. Now, I've seen a few neat mechanics here and there, but for the most part, nearly every big boss battle has had the exact same formula, which is boss does big AoE attack, cone attack, or cleave damage, ads spawn.
Mm.
Party kills ads, back to boss, more ads spawn that are bigger and badder with their own big AoE abilities, kill ads, back to boss, final big wave of ads, kill boss. If the fight needs to be harder, they just throw more ads in.
Oh, right.
Nearly every major fight I've been in follows this exact same formula, and for the sake of the game, the developers really need to get more creative with their fights. It's got to seem new and interesting every time, even
Mm-hmm.
if in reality it is just recycled mechanics. And that's pretty much covers my list of things that everyone I don't like.
Oh, you got it's a pretty good list there, but I don't think it's sort of none of it's the end of the world, and a lot of it sounds pretty sort of fixable. None of it sounds game breaking at this stage where they're still in the initial early part of the game. But tell me, this is the important question. Even with all of this considered, are you still enjoying yourself?
Oh, yes, definitely. Like I said earlier, no game's perfect. And just because there's some things I don't like or find annoying doesn't mean I'm not still enjoying the game overall.
Mm,
But sometimes you just got to be honest and face a game's flaws head on. That's how things get changed and games become better over time.
yeah.
Now this isn't intended to be a big QQ session. This is just my feedback on the things I'd like to see changed or improved in Neverwinter. And I just happened to put mine in one big list over 3 weeks so I
Yeah.
can write an article about it.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, and also, like we said at the beginning of the hit, it's been 3 weeks, and these are the things that Troy's unhappy about. So I don't think that we're sounding the death knell for Neverwinter or anything along those lines. It's just, it's good to criticise, good to be objective every now and then.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much indeed for that, Troy. It sounds like really interesting stuff, and there's a ton more Neverwinter news coming. So as always, guys, do keep it locked and dialed to Gamebreaker TV for all your gaming needs.